In the battle for supremacy on Spion Kop, morale begins to sag on both sides as the extreme heat, exhaustion and thirst take hold.
The Boers on the Kop could see large numbers of burghers on the plains below them who simply refused to join the fight. The apparent confidence of the British proved too much for some of them, who began to abandon their hard-won positions.
And on the British side, the bombardment begins to take its toll. British Commander General Edward Woodgate was killed, leaving the men on Spionkop leaderless, confused and pinned down by the heavy Boer artillery and rifle fire. A plea for help was sent. Reinforce at once or all is lost. General Woodgate is dead. Warren had already dispatched a brigade of 2 regular battalions and the Imperial Light Infantry. However, he refused to launch an attack on Kwatabanyama and barred his guns from firing on Allow Knoll, mistakenly believing this to be part of the British position.
So where was Buller in all of this? Did he just stand and watch as Warren was leading men to die?
Good question. Buller was at his command post watching the battle unfold, sort of like what we're doing. At around 11:40, he could see that things were not going well. He suggested to Warren that Thorneycroft be appointed commander on the Kop. So they sent a runner with the message. The first runner to Thorneycroft was shot dead before he could utter a single word. Finally, a second runner brought Thorneycroft news. You are a general.
It's almost unbelievable. All this chaos and brutality around you, and then suddenly you are promoted to general. At about 1 p.m., some of the British on the Kop tried to surrender, but Thorneycroft yelled at those advanced Boers who would take them prisoner. He said, "I am the commandant here. Take your men back to hell, sir. I allow no surrenders."
Brave man. And then, some good luck for him. The first of the British reinforcements arrive at this very moment, and a vicious point-blank firefight ensued. The British line had been saved. At 2:30 p.m, Thorneycroft sent Warren another plea for reinforcements and water.
Can you imagine being a messenger in this, running from safety into the jaws of hell, finding the right person and then making sure they get the message without being shot?
It gets more complicated. Colonel Augustus Hill of the Middlesex Regiment and the Imperial Light Infantry was senior to Thorneycroft and believed he was the overall commander on the Kop. Can you believe it? He held the British in battle for 2.5 hours until they too began to give way. Then the Cameronians, also known as the Scottish Rifles, arrived and drove the Boers back with a bayonet charge. By this stage, they'd fought each other almost to a standstill.
At 8 p.m, Thorneycroft looks around. He sees trenches littered with wounded and dead men. Feeling that his men would be unable to withstand another day under such pressure, he orders a retreat.
Then something interesting happens. Major General Neville Littleton, who was positioned along the Tugela River, dispatched 2 battalions towards Spionkop without consulting General Buller. One of these battalions, the King's Royal Rifle Corps, diverted to assault Twin Peaks, and they succeeded in capturing the double summit. On top of Spionkop, the Boers who'd fought bravely since morning abandoned their positions. They were about to retreat when Botha appeared and persuaded them to stay and fight.
Apparently, he said to them, "These guys have come from 7,000 miles away and they are fighting for a queen. You are on home soil. You're fighting for your country." Luckily for them, an exhausted Thorneycroft hadn't yet heard that the battle had been won, and he ordered an unauthorized withdrawal from Spionkop. Can you imagine what he must have been going through, what his men were going through? And he still had no intelligence coming in about the Boer positions.
Now Churchill appears on the scene and says 1,400 men are on their way with 2 large naval guns. So Thorneycroft ordered the brigade to retreat. At the same time, Buller recalled his troops from Twin Peaks.
Why would he do that after they had risked everything to secure the peaks?
Well, even though they'd been successful, he was furious they disobeyed orders, can you believe it, and had taken the initiative themselves to attack the peaks in the first place. The following day, the Boer generals were astonished to see 2 burghers on the top of Spionkop waving their slouch hats in triumph. The only British left on the Kop were the dead. Many were buried in the same trenches where they fell.